In this presentation, we're going to look at spreadsheet commands that we can use for checking solutions when we're doing number system calculations, for example, conversions from binary to decimal, let's say. So we have quite a few commands here. There are 6 commands here. So, and what we can use them for is to convert between binary to decimal, decimal to binary, hexadecimal to decimal, decimal to hexadecimal, hexadecimal to binary, and binary to hexadecimal. Those are the 6 commands there. So it's bin to dec, so bin to dec for binary to decimal, and so on. There's quite a lot there. Mostly you would be working with decimal, working with like binary to decimal or decimal to binary, and you would be doing a pen and paper calculation, and it's just a way of checking your answer to know these commands, that you can open up your computer and check out your answer. So just as a remark, as I said before, it is very much focused on pen and paper. Just really, this is mostly for checking your answers for pen and paper calculations. The commands that relate to binary numbers do not work for any number greater than 511 decimal. That is to say, the maximum number of binary digits is 9. Now, you can specify negative numbers also, so negative binary numbers, but it's not going to be relevant here, so I'm going to leave that out. So, for the most part, what I have there written under constraints is true. Any number between 0 and 511, or 9 binary digits. So here's our exercise. Find the equivalent numbers of these numbers here. So the first number we have is 100. Hang on, let's bring it up here. 1011011. Okay, and that's a binary number, and I want to find out the decimal equivalent of that. So I'm going to write bind to des, and I'm going to have the brackets there. And what I'm going to do, I have the cursor selected there between the brackets. So what I'm going to do there is just enter the cell. I'm going to select this cell here. It's selected A2, and I'm just going to hit return. So this is actually as a decimal number, this is 91. I'm going to do the same thing here to find out the hexadecimal equivalent. So it's bind to hex. Again, open bracket, select the cell, and then close bracket, and that is 5b. So let's look at the next one here. 234 decimal. So 234. Let's find the binary equivalent of that. So that's des to bind, open bracket, select the cell, just click in it there, and then close the bracket. Or you can actually just write in up here. You can actually just write it in there. So I'll show you how to do that for the next one. So let's hit enter there. So that's 1101010. Okay, and let's find the hexadecimal equivalent of that. I'm going to write it up here on the top line just to sort of show you a different, or a slightly different approach to doing it. So this is des to hex, open bracket, select, just going to type in A4 and hit return, and that is EA. Now one more, A5E, A5E, binary decimal equivalent of that, hex to des, select the cell, A7, so that is 2654. Binary equivalent of that, we might be in trouble here, hex to bind, too big. Let's see if we spread out. Yeah, that number there is bigger than 511, so that doesn't work. Okay, it goes back to that point there earlier on that it has to be between 0 and 511. I'll just knock out the E here, so it's a smaller number now. 165. All of a sudden it works. It can't be too big a number when you're working with binary numbers. Now let's try for a really large hexadecimal number here. We're going to sort of scrap that there, and I'm going to type in, go back to A7 here, and I'm just going to type in a few more characters here. So B9D, really large number there. So that's 678,813. So you can actually for between hexadecimal and decimal, it can work with really big numbers here. So I'm just going to finally work. I'm going to compute a very large number here. I'm going to what is it? 250,000. Let's see what 250,000 is in hexadecimal. So let's just write it in here in cell A9. There we are. And des to hex. Oops, des to hex. There we go, 3D090. Okay, essentially the point there is that the amount of characters is much less. Okay, that ends our presentation. Short and sweet. The subject is these commands here: bind to des, des to bind, and how to use them. Hex to des, hex to bind, and so on.